So hello, let's discuss our first topic of business analytics module here. So in the first topic here, we will introduce you some key terminologies and the language shared by the business researcher and analysis for the business data analytics module. And then we will describe the information age and the differences between data, information, analytics, and then the business intelligence. And it's very important to know different types of source of data, types of the business analytics. And at the end of this topic, we will explore the concept of big data and associate opportunities and challenges when we just have been introduced by the big data. So business analytics is a science of posing and answering data requests, data questions related to the business. Business analytics have rapidly expanded in the last few years to include the tools to draw from statistics, data management, data visualization, and of course recently you have heard about is as machine learning. They increasing emphasis on the big data handling to the assimilate the advance made in the data science. As is often the case with applied methodologies, the business data analytics have to be soundly grounded in application in the various disciplines and business vertical to be valuable. The bridge between the tools and the application are the modeling methods, or using some statistics, or the data visualized used by manager, researcher in disciplines such as finance, marketing, HR, operation. Even nowadays you can see it's quite a lot in agriculture or in education as well. And we are currently live in the information age. If you're looking for the top 10 largest companies by the market capitalization in August 2021, you will recognize at least 5 to 6 countries is just on the top 10 of the largest company is come from technologies. So we know the biggest one could be Apple, and then we have Microsoft. The third one is Saudi Aramco from the Saudi Arabia. So actually it's come from energy sector. And then we have Alphabet, is just owner of Google, is just on the top 4. And then we of course is still using the technology as well. Amazon is just on the top 5, and then we have Facebook is just as a big company for the technologies. Currently we have a Tesla on the 7, and we have a financial investment fund, Berkshire Hathaway, and we have a Taiwan Semiconductor, and the last one we have Tencent, that's a technology company again from China. So you can see nowadays that's the technology is the information age is very bring a lot of values for all of us. So in God's we just own other, but must bring data. And how various chief economists of Google have said, the ability to take the data, to be able to analyze, to process it, to extract the value from it, and to visualize it, and to communicate it as well is going to be a hugely important skill in the next decades. So you can see the role and what the information can bring for us. And the information age is just the present time during which infinite quantity of facts are widely available to anyone who can use a computer. And when the market research, they guess the total data market is expected to be $140 billion by 2021. And competing in the information age, you can see we have some example to show the power of business with analytics and technologies in here. We have Coca-Cola, the Amazon, they just start with a primary business focus on selling books, and now they just become the fifth biggest company in the world to provide the technologies solution to selling. And the last one, Netflix, they start with the primary business focus on renting video. And then I just want to discuss with the case of Netflix with you guys a little bit further. So in 2017, the video streaming company Netflix was worth more than 80 billion, more than 100 times its values when it's listed in 2002. the company's current position as a market leader in the online streaming sector is far cry from its humble beginning as a DVD rental by mail service, right? Founded in 1997. And do you know the price is changing quite a lot? Is when it's IPO in May 2002, the price for Netflix is just only $15, and it's right to nearly 190 in 2017. And currently in September, the price, if you want to buy one stock of Netflix, is come for $575 US. So the question here is just like, why is Netflix different from traditional cable company that offer show on their own channel, and what did the Netflix can help build up their strong business? The answer is just come very quickly. It's come from the data. So Netflix can track every action that a consumer makes on its website. So what they can watch, how long they watch it for, and when they turn out, and most importantly, what they might be looking for next. So this data is very, very important and valuable for its business. It allows the company to target specific on the market with the accuracy. So this one is just show us Netflix data-oriented approach is a key, not just to its ability to pick the winning television show, but to its global reach and power. So those competitors are springing up the world over. Netflix remains at the top of the pack, and so long as it is able to exploit its knowledge of how its viewer behave and what they prefer to watch, is remaining here, right? So that's very important. So you can see the roles of the data, how it could be helpful for the business in the digital or information age in here. So for the information age, the core driver of the information age or digital age could come from data, information, business analytics, and business intelligence. So you can see they're using quite a lot of terminologies here. The mixing using business analytics and business intelligence. So now it's very important for us to understanding the key terminologies or definition of each of them, and it could be go through to our whole modules here. So I hope with this one it could be help you guys to clear the difference between them. So from previous example with Netflix, we know, right, the Netflix just collect the data from their consumer for how long they have watched this movie, and what type of movies or the shows they normally want to watch, and this kind of information is just collecting. So so what is the data? So data is just a raw fact that describes the characteristic of an event or object in here. For example, for Netflix, it's just like if you see the Squid Game, right? So normally how long you're spending to watch this kind of movie on Netflix. So that's describes, that's very raw information, describe the characteristic of the event or object. And even you have a lot of data attached to you, for example, the age, the height, the weight, the name, and the nationality. The data is just a part of the information equation. The data is not, to be honest, is not the information. So to be useful, the data must be gathered, processed, stored, and manipulated, analyzed, and tested using the valid statistical method. Right? If we just collect only information about only you for how long you watch, and then you don't using other information from the other consumer to turn it to become like useful information to make a decision here. For example, if we can check how many of you have spending time to watch Squid Game, currently is quite hot change on a Netflix. So this kind of thing is just like you have to turn the data must be because we know the data is just raw information here. They just provide very characteristic and pure information only. So in order to make it to become have to make a decision making here, you have to collect it, you have to process the data, you have to store it, and then you do analyze and test using some valid statistical method to give you helpful information. We have different type of data. It's just like data can broadly classify as a qualitative, or you also know as a categorical, or the quantitative, also known as a numerical. The categorical can be further subclassified as a nominal or ordinal, and the numerical data can subclassify as a discrete or continuous data. So you can see in our diagram here. So the categorical data are simply identifier or label that have no numerical meaning. In this, such data are often not a number. So for example, a person occupation is just like your teacher, doctor, your lawyer, your taxi driver, engineer, or other. So it's just normally it's just mentioned like the categorical data type. The graph you can receive for the exam like HD, DI, CR, or NN is again simply a label, so it could be the categorical data type as well. And then we have something like numerical data. Numerical data have a natural order, and the number represent some quantity as well. Two examples are the number of the head when you have a 10 toss of a coin, or the height of the Vietnamese national football team. So that's some example to give you like exactly which values the data may have. It can be namely, for example, the number of head in the 10 tosses. It could be come from 0 to 10, right? So this kind could be as an example for the quantitative or numerical data. We can discuss this one further in our when we mention about statistic descriptive week. So in here you can see some example like the nominal data cannot be ranked. So normally such as like they ask you about the merit status. If we have ordinal data, it can be ranked in a meaningful way. So for example, it's just like you just receive a survey, and then they will ask you when you go to Starbucks coffee, and then they ask you the survey for the latte you have as bought today. So they may ask you, it could be like something, put it in the order in here, like do you satisfy with the latte you have today? So it may be like extremely dislike, or neutral, or light, or extremely light. So this is example for ordinal data. And for the numerical or quantitative data, we just mentioned we have a discrete data, so the value from the countings in here. One good example maybe ask you how many sister or brother you have in your family. So it just normally count the number in here. You maybe have 0, you have 1, you have 2, or you have 3 brother and sister. And the other types of quantitative data we have is called continuous data. So it could be measurements in here, and that's come for the previous example I mentioned is just the height of our male national football teams, right? So they have maybe someone just high 1.60 meter, 1.72 meter, 1.85 meter, right? So that's show you the different examples of types of the data here. The data itself could be can divide to become cross-sectional data or time series data. The data that are collected at the fixed point in time, we call it a cross-sectional data. So such data give a snapshot of the measure a variable at the point in time. For example, you just conduct and publish a monthly survey of the consumer confidence. So the survey should be provide information on the consumer confidence for the given month in here. So that's a good example of cross-sectional data. It's just like every quarterly you will receive the report of the company performance, right? So it's just how the profit and loss during each quarter. So that's give you the type of cross-sectional data. And then we have other type we call it time series data. So it means the data are collected over time. For example, that's data that consists of the consumer confidence over several times or years. It just represent for our time series data. So or in here we have a business collect and check their sales data on daily, weekly, monthly or quarterly basis and allows them to see the pattern over time. So this time series data here later on we can discuss further. It's very important for someone do marketing or some guy looking for the operation of the firm, right? So if you working in the fashion sector, and then you can see how the seasonal like normally people will buy more swimming suits during the summertime, and then they will buy less during the winter time. So with this kind of data, it could be help you to predict in the future here. That's the type of the time series data can provide for you. But data is not information, and the data cannot inform the decision here. There are difference between data and information. So data is normally raw, unorganized, unanalyzed, and uninterrupted, and unrelated use in the different contexts. So for instance, the fact and stat collected by researcher for their analysis can be collectively be called data. But data in essence lacks of its informative and relative render itself to be meaningless unless give a purpose or the direction to acquaint its significant. But when the data is analyzed, structured, and given a composer or context to make it useful, we find the information. Right? The information is just normally means the act of informing. So mostly used in the context of knowledge, instruction, and education. So information is normally a systematic, filter, and useful one. So in here we have like from report. So a document containing the data that's organized in a table, a matrix, or graphical format, allowing user to easily comprehend and understand the information. So normally we have like two different types of report. We have static report, is just created once based on data that doesn't change, and then we have a dynamic report that changes automatically during the creation. And Peter Sondergaard, the executive vice president of Gartner Research and Advisory, he just mentioned that the information is the oil of the 21st century. And analytics is a combustion analysis for this one. We just discuss the difference between data and information, and the next one I want to discuss with you is just about the business analytics and business intelligence. So although these terms are used interchangeably, but there are slightly differences in the term of the two they use in here. So for the business analytics is a data-driven decision-making approach that uses statistical quantitative analysis, information technologies, and management science along with the data minings and facts-based data to measure the past business performance to guide an organization in business planning and effective decision-making. Thus, the definition from Sahay 2018 when she just mentioned about the business data analytics. And what about business intelligence? The business intelligence is just combine a broad set of data analysis application. It includes applications such as queuing, enterprise reporting, online analytical processing, mobile business intelligence, real-time business intelligence. So it could be include the data visualize software for designing charts and other infographic, as well as a tool for building the business intelligence dashboard, performance scorecard that display the visualized data on business metrics and the key performance indicators such as KPI in an easy to grab ways. So business intelligence application can be bought separately from different vendors or as part of a unified business intelligence platform from a single vendor. So it just give you briefly a difference between business analytics. So it could be more about the statistic and then data driven decision making. Meanwhile, the business intelligence here is just like information collected from the multiple source such as supplier, consumer, competitor, partner, industries, and thus analyze the pattern, trends, and the relationship for strategic decision making here. And the source of business intelligence is could have a competitive, economic, cultural, social, technological, demographic, or government regulatory. So that's come from different source of business intelligence. Meanwhile, we have a different types of business analytics here. So normally the objective of business data analytics is to explore and then investigate the business problem or opportunity through a course of scientific inquiry. So the specific objective of the business data analytics are dependent on the types of analysis that's being performed. So there are main categories of the business analytics here. First one, you can see descriptive analysis. That's provide the insight into the past by describing or summarizing data. So descriptive analytics aim to answer the question what was happened. And the same one for the descriptive analytics is just the question is about the past. We also have a diagnostic analytics as well, is just explore why an outcome is occur. So diagnostic analytics is to answer the question why did a certain event occur. And then next one we have like predictive analytics. It's just analyze the past trends in data to provide the future insights. So predictive analytics is used to answer the question what is likely to happen. And the last one is just a prescriptive analytics. So it utilize the finding from different form of analytics to quantify the anticipated effects and outcome of the decision under the consideration. So prescriptive analysis aim to answer the question what should happen if we do, or what should we do going forward. So each of categories use a different tools, and the use of this analytics depends on the type of business and the operation a company is involved in. So next one, I just want to introduce the sources of data. So data collection for research and analytics can broadly be divided into two major types, primary data and secondary data. So consider a project or business task that requires a certain data. So the data source could be individual, group, organization, etc. And data from them could be actively or passively observed and collected just come from the primary data. Therefore, the survey, interviews, and focus group all falls under the primary data. The main advantage of primary data is that it tailors specifically to the question posed by the research project. The disadvantages are cost and time. On the other hand, the secondary data is that which have been previously collected for purpose that is not specific to the research at hand. For example, like the sales record, the industry report, the interview transcript from the past research are data that could continue to exist whether or not the project at hand have come to the fruition. Right? So a good example of a mean to obtain the secondary is that rapidly expand, so you can see how it can using for the secondary data. And the next one we have the new type, and it could be very popular in recent years is just about big data. So you can click on this one to see the link from Harvard Business Research. They just mentioned about the explain of the big data and analytics. So what is big data? So big data refer to the deep and broad connection of the data that arise from ongoing collection of data through the organic distributed process. It means when people use a web, use a credit card for a purchase, or use a phone to check in at a cafe, you can see the data is generated, captured, and stored from numerous available sources, quickly building to become a data set. So everyday activity results in the production of the data that are automatically stored in the real time. And automatic data captured from so many sources means that data are both broad, covered by numerous issues, and very deep. It just provides great details in here. So how big is a big data? So it's just Brad Peter from the Edge of Big Data. He just mentioned the story of business over the last 2 centuries can be seen as the evolution of relationship between seller and buyer. Big data, the billions of the high-speed, low-cost processor, computer, sensor, and networks that make it possible. Promise to take this relationship to the next level. It could be mass personalization. That show you how it's very big. The big data. The opportunities of the big data, you can see consider the Google. Every time anyone does an online search for anything using Google, Google can collect the data which depending on the individual privacy setting. So should include the username, device access to the Google, from their location, perhaps their age, and of course the keywords that characterize the search. So consider how many search people perform every day. Such information can be used to profile the user and target specific product to them. So most people have experience searching for the product online and then seeing the advertisement for the product on other websites they visit over the following days. That's exactly you can see on the Facebook currently, right? And also if you can see for the case of Uber, so Uber is an employer franchise model wherein driver brings their own vehicle and sign up for the Uber. Yes, Uber does have one key asset that actually owns one that lies at the heart of its profit projection. Is just about big data, right? Uber own right to every bit of data from every passenger, every driver, every ride, and every route on its network. Curious as how much data are we talking about? Considering it, Uber that took 6 years to reach 1 billion rides in December 2015. 6 months later, it have reached the 2 billion mark. That's 1 billion rides in just 118 days, or 1.5 million rides a day. So you can see that's the big data, and then you can show in the big data is a valuable asset that help to build a sustainable competitive advantage in here. So that's normally with this kind of big data, it can be captured by business or the government organization. So what do they do with it? You can see story from Google or Uber. So what could they do with it, and what shouldn't they do with it? So what the large tech company with the data and strong digital infrastructure are doing. So let's come back to the question. Example at the beginning, as I mentioned, like 10 largest market capitalization in the market now. 6 from them come from large tech companies, right? So thus you can see what the opportunity of the big data can bring for the business or even for the government organization. And at the beginning, big data can be characterized by the 3 V. In here we just introduce you with 4 V, but at the beginning they just have 3 V's. The first one is as volume. That's the data generated, capture, and store from numerous available sources, and quickly building the data set. And then velocity is just mainly everyday activity result in the production of data that are automatically stored in the real times. And the next one is just varieties here. Is just automatic data capture from so many sources, means that data are both broad and deep. For example, they can cover numerous different issues, and in some cases they can provide the great details. And the currently on the big 4V is just veracity. Veracity is just refer to the trustworthiness of the data, just which present the uncertainties and inconsistency in the data. And recently they just add one more V on our big data is come for the value one. So refer to the necessity of driving any data analytic exercise from the real valuable business goal. So it's just before all of information from volumes, varieties, velocity, and veracity. Now how we can turn all of this information, right, and this data, amount of data, it can be to become like extract to the useful data. That's come to the main idea of the big data with this characteristic. So the firm will normally using the information from or analysis possess a firm understanding use of different business units and are capable of drawing comparison and relationship between different data sets having the same meaning. So analysts also possess strong visualization skills and contribute to creating architecture diagram that show the data source and frequency of data feed. So such models are essential when facilitating discussion about the data sourcing with the stakeholder and facilitating approval. So that is for our part 1A of this week. So we will discuss further in our online class.